I want to bring in Arizona Democratic Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, member of the House Oversight Committee. First, I want to get your take on the president getting personally involved here, trying to use some pressure on your Republican colleagues to change their vote, going so far as to bring one of them into the Situation Room.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I think the president's personal involvement in trying to pressure and threaten Republican members of Congress to remove themselves from the discharge petition yesterday should really raise the question with Americans across the country as to why. This is a cover-up. I have been very clear from the beginning. Oversight Democrats have been very clear. If the president is innocent in all of this, and if his allies and people in very high up positions in the White House and the administration have nothing to hide, then they could release the entirety of the Epstein files today. But the fact that they have not done so and they have not complied with the Oversight Committee's subpoena to release the files, and the fact that Donald Trump himself, instead of focusing on the real issues that Americans across this country are facing, such as affordability and the healthcare crisis, is dedicating his personal time and personal capital to threaten Republican members of Congress, says it all.
This bill, well, we'll see where it goes. I wonder if you're having conversations or at least hearing stuff from the Senate side. If it gets through the House, first of all, let me ask you what your level of confidence is about that. But what are you hearing about the Senate side of things?
I think that if Mike Johnson follows through with what he said, which I have to have a level of skepticism about, just given how he's operated over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, how he shut down Congress early, I think that having every single Republican on the record potentially next week, we are going to definitely pass this through the House of Representatives. I think enough Republicans will recognize that they absolutely cannot be on the side of protecting pedophiles. And then that's a great question. I do feel, somewhat confident that this could get through the Senate. I think the American public has been demanding accountability and transparency for the victims. The fact that we've seen survivors who have never spoken out before come to Capitol Hill, have press conferences outside the Capitol, share their stories for the very first time. Republican senators will not be able to deny that and will have a very difficult time. The real question will be, though, is what Donald Trump and the White House decide to do. And when on that issue, I am very, very skeptical, because we have seen that the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, every senior level administration official, Caroline Leavitt, et cetera, are in full on denial mode. They're calling this a Democratic hoax. They have completely flipped the script and changed their tune 180 degrees since the beginning of the year, because they know that Donald Trump is in the files. To what extent, that remains to be seen. But the emails that we received from the Epstein estate make it very clear that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were incredibly close. These emails span 15 years. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein, one of the most evil monsters that the world has ever seen, sent an email saying that he doesn't think Donald Trump has a good bone in his body, essentially, is damning, to me, and spent time with the victims and the survivors. And so it's really up to the White House. They could end this today. They could release the full files today. That's what we've been demanding, and that's what they've outright denied doing.
There's another big story, obviously, developing where you are. The president did sign the bill to reopen the government last night after 43 days. But as you well know, the battle over health care is far from over. So I want to play part of what the president said last night.
It all includes fixing the health care system that Democrats broke with the disaster known as Obamacare. Obamacare was a disaster from day one, and I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own health care, which will be far better and far less expensive than the disaster known as Obamacare.
He says he's calling for it, but have you seen or heard of any formal plan, number one? And number two, what is the Democrats' plan or strategy to deliver on those promises to extend ACA subsidies?
Donald Trump is dealing with not only dementia, as I see it, but a lot of delusion. He has never had a plan for health care. Right now, the American public views the Affordable Care Act with nearly 70% approval rating, while Donald Trump's approval rating is in the 30s because he has no plan on health care. I was back in my district last week, and my constituents are terrified as they're starting to receive their notifications about their health care premiums doubling, tripling, or worse. It's heartbreaking. So our plan for health care right now is we have a discharge petition on the House floor right now that House leadership put forward to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits by 3 years. The discharge petition is very much like the Epstein discharge petition in that any member of Congress can sign it, and as long as we have a simple majority, then Mike Johnson will be forced to bring it to a vote. So I urge my Republican colleagues, especially those Republicans who have made a lot of grand statements over the last 6 months about protecting Medicaid, about that how they could never vote for a bill that cuts health care for the American people. They can sign that petition anytime. I signed it yesterday, and if enough people sign it, then it'll come to a vote and we can protect these ACA tax credits.
Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, thank you so much.